Welcome to another edition of In the Weeds with Ikard and Lehman, presented by Riverwind Casino. Riverwind is Oklahoma City's premier casino experience, and there are so many reasons why Riverwind is consistently voted OKC's number one casino, but it all starts with their amazing variety of gaming thrills and excitement. Riverwind's beautiful, award-winning environment plays host to more than 2,800 of the latest electronic games with a huge selection of table games, including blackjack match roulette, and Teddy's favorite, craps. No matter what your game, Riverwind has it in spades and hearts. And to learn more about their gaming promotions and entertainment options, all you got to do is visit riverwind.com. Riverwind Casino, good times, great rewards. We continued to take a look at all the guys that OU has landed in the transfer portal. Don't think we're going to do the kicker and punter. I'm sorry, but we're going to try our best to do everyone else, Ted.
Yeah, I mean, do we really need to break down? See, he made this one. He did not get this other one through the uprights. Not a whole lot going on there for us.
We don't know anything about kicking and punting. It is what it is. All right, let's take a look at Kennesaw State tight end transfer Carson Kent. Great tight end name. Let's start there. Carson Kent. Listed at 6'4", 240 pounds. When you look at the production last season for Kennesaw State, he had 18 catches for 217 yards and 3 touchdowns. He does have 2 years of eligibility left. And when you see that the Sooners are getting a tight end, clearly it is a big position of need. And the first thing that pops into my head is, hey, what type of player is he? And when you're talking about a tight end and what type of player he is, the first thing I want to see is, how does he move?
Mm-hmm.
So here's Carson Kent right there. They are running just a little split zone play action here, and he's going to catch it in the flat. And honestly, that's him right in space, so he's going to catch it. And this is the point where I go, all right, let's see what the guy's got. And Ted, it's not terrible, man. I mean, 6'4", 240, kind of looks like a big wide receiver, but
Yeah.
I'll just be real. With his production, he moves better than I thought he would move.
Yeah. No, he looks athletic. I mean, that's a big dude. 6'4", 240 pounds is big, and he runs really well. Aggressive, catches the ball. Not a great throw, a little behind him, spins around, catches it, and gets going north-south. Really good job. I mean, he looks athletic. For a guy that size, he looks like he has good control of his body and moves well.
Watching him on this play makes me wonder why they didn't throw him the ball more.
Well, their offense was terrible.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's not a shock that he didn't have this great productive season. I don't think anyone for them had a very productive season.
Fair enough. Now, I think that clip's a great example of just him getting the ball in space and showing what he's got as a pass catcher, and it looks better than I thought it was going to look.
Yeah.
And right here, you see him. He's just going to run. He's just going to run a quick. I don't know if he's hot, if they have hots built into their offense, but that's kind of how it looks here. Is he recognizes the pressure, just runs a little hookup route over the ball. A lot of people call that a Hank route. I don't know if that's still a thing. I'm getting old these days, but this is another one. Catch the ball in space. Got a little cushion there between him and the backer. Finish with physicality. Like, this guy, he looks like a solid athlete. Like, he looks like a D1 athlete at the tight end position. And I do like that you mentioned about the last play, Ted, just getting north and south. There's not a bunch of dancing going on from Carson Kent here.
No, he's a physical, violent player. He's got really good body control. I don't see. I mean, so far we don't have a whole lot to go off of, but I don't see him as a guy that's going to separate from the group of tight ends that we have. But I see him as a guy that could, fit in depth-wise at a lot of places just from what little I've seen. You know what I'm saying? Like, he adds a solid piece. probably not going to blow you away, but he's got some decent size. He's, you know, I don't know how he is as a split out route runner whenever he's covered by a DB, but, as a second or third option in a passing concept, he can get the job done for you.
Well, let's take a look at a play where, it's more of a complex route. You're going to see Carson Kent. He'll be right here, inline tight end. And this is one of the things that I think that Oklahoma really desperately needed during the 2024 season was just a weapon in the red zone. Didn't really have a go-to guy in that area of the field. And I'm not trying to make it sound like Carson Kent's going to be this guy, but when you look at this route, runs through the contact, makes a nice catch. I mean, I guess you could say, hey, the route's a little rounded, but
I think it's a pretty good route. He's
that's
trying
what
to
I'm
sell
saying.
him. Yeah, he's trying to sell him that he's running that under that crosser, and then as soon as he gets him to turn his hips a little bit, he turns it back outside and takes it away from the free safety. It's quality. It's not super clean, but he does the job.
He also, the guy also maybe grabs his face mask right there, at least gets his shoulder pad, and he runs through the contact, makes a competitive catch, scores a touchdown.
Yep.
Once again, I'm not trying to make it sound like this guy's the next Travis Kelce, but we all know how much of a struggle the tight end situation was in the 2024 season for OU. And this guy, at the very least, looks like he can run some routes, catch the ball, get north and south, and get you some yards.
Yep. I still like the body control. Again, 6'4", 240 is a
and
pretty
he's going to get bigger, right? He was just a sophomore at Kennesaw State. You would assume Jerry Schmidt is going to do what he does, add some weight, add some strength. And this is a guy that his frame should look much better by the time the season rolls around.
Yeah, no, I agree. Good body control.
He's not just a complete disaster. That I feel like the OU fan base is making every tight end guy that they brought in the portal sound like a complete disaster. And I know 18 catches for 217 yards at Kennesaw State. Yeah, it's not a ton of production, but when you just look at how he moves, how he's built physically, it's intriguing.
That's the other thing is you're always going to get pushback that, well, it's Kennesaw State. They're not playing against SEC players. Totally understand that. But what we've seen so far has really nothing to do with anyone they're playing. It's how does he move? How does he control his body? Does he look athletic? And so far, the answer is yes.
Completely agree. Now, let's take a look at the other piece of playing the tight end position, and that's blocking in the run game. But first,
you listen to this podcast to get insight from the guys who played the game. Why don't you take that same approach when it comes to buying your beef? When you order from Didier Ranch, you are getting your beef directly from the people who raise it. A rancher knows what it takes to have premium, quality, tasty beef. Didier Ranch has done it for over 100 years right here in Oklahoma. From delicious 21-day dry-aged ribeyes to savory steak burgers, there's no better place to get your beef. Get your beef from the guys who've done it and use code Oklahoma15 for 15% off on DidierRanch.com. Didier Ranch, tradition tastes better.
So on this snap, Carson Kent is in that wing position just outside of the tackle, and they're running a very weird option play to this, but this is what it would look like if you're running Ben Arbuckles' stretch play for Carson Kent, which, thank God, Ben Arbuckle runs stretch. But this is an area where, let's just be real, he's going to need to improve. Mm-hmm. He is not some devastating blocker at the point of attack, although going to show you a couple clips where it doesn't look terrible, but this is one where he can be much better. Right here, when you're running stretch, and I know this is option, but you got to dent that down guy. You got to go through number 6's shoulder right there, make it easy on your tackle, turn that guy's shoulders so that the tackle can gain his outside, and then you work up to 9. You always have to take care of the down guy first. And here, Kent runs around it. It's one of my pet peeves when it comes to outside zone stretch, and that's where you see the leakage. That's they get split because he doesn't dent it. He doesn't go physically through that shoulder, and you don't turn your body to do it. If you turn your shoulders at the tight end position on stretch, you're dead. But you have to go physically, whether it's a shoulder, a flipper, a hand. You have to, your job is to turn number six's shoulders right there and give your tackle some help. He doesn't give his tackle enough there. That being said, I like what I see on the backer.
Yeah.
I mean, look at that.
Words.
Once again, Ted, that ain't terrible, brother. He
No.
is going and he is locking that dude up.
No, he got good pads on him, and he's able, like, right there. Sometimes you feel like you're going to give it away and he's going to win on that front side, but he fights that pressure really well. And finally the backer caves and totally cuts him off from the play. Good job.
So not great on the first level, but really like what I see on the second level. And yes, we know he's going to be blocking more talented linebackers than that guy. We got it.
But again, it's the footwork, the athleticism to, to be able to get up to the next level, get your hands on a guy, fight some pressure, and win a block. Not easy to do.
No. And it's not what you want on the first level, but second level, that's exactly what you're looking for. He's understanding where he needs to leverage that block, and he goes and wins. So looking at this next play, this is my favorite play of his. Maybe it's the offensive lineman in me, but he's lined up right here, this goal line situation. They're just running that inside zone play where you cave down the backside and this running back kind of cuts it back, right? A very popular goal line play in college football right now. And I love everything about this clip for him as a run blocker. Good urgency off the ball, good wide feet, chewing up, not losing ground, gaining ground with his feet, good hat placement, good hand placement. You can see him miss initially with the hand.
Yep.
Right hand, outside. What's he do? Gets it underneath, replaces, gets inside. That's really good. I don't know how else to classify it other than that's really, really good. He is taking this guy from the B gap, the C gap, all the way over to the opposite A, B.
Yep. Well, he ends up just on screen. I mean, you got it's 4 or 5 yards that he's moving that guy. I mean, that's good. That's what you want on the goal line. If you can get washed like that, job accomplished. Just trying to find a little bit of soft spot in the defense. And no, I really like the footwork coming out. I don't know. I'm no expert on the footwork, but you mentioned at the base, he's under control. He's got his body stays in a good position. He's not leaned over his toes, where if you go strike and miss, you end up on your face. He's got good balance. Pretty good.
Really good. There's no one can watch this clip that knows what they're talking about and say that isn't an awesome rep for Carson Kent.
Yeah, I like it.
That's fantastic. Look how far he takes. The touchdown is scored right behind him because he takes this dude for an absolute ride.
Yeah. The back is lined up on the hash and scores on the hash, and he started 3 yards outside of it and ends maybe 2 or 3 yards on the other side. That's good.
So is he some punishing blocker at the point of attack? No, but if you play, or at least not yet, if you play with this technique, this effort, this urgency, I love how he keeps his pad level down. Remember, 6'4", he's not a short guy. He's winning the leverage battle, and then the finish, the strain, the hand replacement right there to just take that guy all the way. The phrase I always use is, hey, take him farther than he wants to go.
Yep.
And that's exactly what he does here. And it's a touchdown right behind his block. So
speaking of from experience, if you're spinning out when you're getting blocked, you're out of it.
Not where you want to be.
If you're trying to spin out to get back to where you belong, not a good place to be.
So here's one more clip of him blocking, and they're just running a zone play. to the right. There's a little split action from a wide receiver, it looks like, or maybe another back. I'm not sure what position number 2 played for Kennesaw State, but this is just another one. Footwork, quick feet are in the ground, pad levels low, completely digs out a 4 technique on inside zone. Now, is he driving him into the end zone and planting him into the ground? No. But Ted, that is a guy that is straining, that is playing with great effort as a run blocker. And once again, ball right behind him.
Yep.
Nice play.
Yeah. I mean, he gets a little bit over his toes on this one, but he recovers nicely. And I do like the effort to keep the pads low. You know what I'm saying? Like he knows he's taking on a big 4 technique, which those guys are usually the most physical, hardest to move on the football field. And, he does a good job, recovers and digs him out. Nice job.
There was, and we talked a lot about it on the pod, there were some things technically for OU at the tight end position and as run blockers that just at times were not great. And watching some of the stuff from Carson Kent, like he understands he's got to get his feet in the ground. He understands he's got to get his pads low and stay low. I like the way that he grabs with his hands. Like he grabs and holds.
Yeah, and look at his get off. I mean, watch the rest of the offensive line and look how much ground he makes up. I mean, he's coming out. He's
coming off the rock, man.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to expect from this guy. But going into it, looking at the production, I wasn't expecting to necessarily love what I saw. And I'm more intrigued and encouraged by what he's put on tape than by what the production is.
Yeah.
I think he's a guy that if he develops more physically, he can help this football team. Is that as a second tight end, a third tight end? I don't really know, Ted, but there are some very encouraging things that he's put on tape at Kennesaw State.
Yeah. I mean, whenever you just kind of look at the state of the position right now, I mean, he's at a minimum as competent of a blocker as anyone that we've got currently, right?
That's not saying much. Let's be real. But yes, I think that looks no worse than anything we saw from any tight end for Oklahoma in 2024. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think so. And, again, it's about the movement. It's not about the competition. Looks athletic, looks like he understands the blocking schemes, plays with good pad level, has some pretty good footwork on that stuff. Athletic, moves well, can catch the football. Focus. You, at a minimum, got to clear that 250 mark.
No doubt. Add weight, add strength, but bring that technique, bring the urgency that he plays with, and very interested to see what happens with Carson Kent.
Agree.
Please make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube channel. Also, if you really like this, you can click those 3 dots down there and give us a super thanks. Other than that, we'll see you next time here on In the Weeds.
Bam.